100% Chelsea. Hello everyone. Welcome to another stream, another Daily Blues. Finally back this week with the panel as usual, except with a new addition. We have Daniel, son of Chelsea, Louis, who hopefully will end up coming on sometime along the stream. If not, he won't be on tonight. But also we have Max, who's also known as the 12th man. You guys can say hi.
What's up?
Hi.
Right. Now, today we are going to talk about the absolutely worst month. Is it the worst month in 37 years that we've had? Or the worst start to a
It's
Premier League
definitely the
season?
worst start. It doesn't help. We've had what? How many? We've had 3 defeats this month, if I'm
Yeah.
counting right.
Um, disaster. Absolute disaster. But what we're going to do is address this month, break it down, and then start looking forward to the new month. Start looking forward to October. Start looking forward to our fixtures that we've got, and just start again. Let's just press the refresh button, right? And let's just start again from scratch. But we have to talk about what has happened in the month of September. So let's break it down. Our results during September, and in fact it started in late August, I have to mention it. We lost 2-1 to Palace at home. That's where it really all started going wrong. Moved into September, we lost against Everton. We then won against Tel Aviv. We then beat Arsenal, but that was with 2 extra men at the end of the day, which we have to be honest about. Beat Walsall, as expected. Drew against Newcastle, which we practically survived hell from. And then lost to Porto, and then lost to Southampton. So a pretty disastrous start. At the moment, we are 16th in the league. Daniel, we'll start with you. Let's break down these results exactly. What do you see exactly like happening, going wrong, that we can really just go, you know what, this needs to be fixed for October. Let's do this for October. Because it's not just 1 or 2 results. There's quite a lot of bad results.
I think there's obviously the tactical changes that we've said that needed to be made.
Yeah.
The obvious ones that we've gone over a million times. I think also now it's becoming quite obvious that we need to bring youth into this team. We need to bring players who are on the outside of the team who haven't had their chances, that really want to get a chance, and I'm sure just the moment they'll get that chance, they'll take it, because very rarely do young players get a chance in Chelsea, in the Chelsea first team. So I'm talking about Loftus-Cheek, I'm talking about Kennedy, I'm talking about Traore, Babarama, players like that really need to be brought in now and bring some fresh energy and rejuvenate this team. It really is strange. Probably the only thing this season that's happened that's normal, that you could say is like a normal season, is us beating Arsenal. That's the only thing this season that to me is like a normal Chelsea season. We beat Arsenal quite convincingly, quite comfortably, and that's about it. And everything else has been backwards, really. I think, I think there's been many bad defeats. We said after the Everton defeat, this surely can't get worse than this, and then it did, because we lost. I think you could say maybe not the Porto defeat. I think the Southampton defeat last week, I think, was really the tip of the iceberg with defeats this season. I think it was just the way it all happened, and the way it was, so just the whole way that just went downhill very quickly.
Yeah.
The reaction from the fans, the aftermath after. So I do think that I do think that's probably the worst defeat. I just think overall there's a bit of me that thinks that there is something. It's just simple changes that need to be made after the international break.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're going to have all the problems fixed, but I think we can take great strides into improving stuff. I mean, we're not in. I mean, with the exception of the Premier League, I think you look at it, we're still in the League Cup. We've only lost the first 2 games of the Champions League. We lost the second one, but if we win 3 of the next 4 games, I think we'll probably be through quite comfortably. So it's not like doom and gloom in that group, because I still think we can easily get through it. We just need to bring our form back up. So it's not. It may feel like the end of the world, but it annoys me, because I think there are simple changes that need to be made that can help us in the long run. And bringing through youth players, I think, is the first thing, rather than just the obvious changes that we've talked about a lot of times. And just players who aren't performing, no matter what the name on the back of your shirt is, have to be dropped, because we've all kept faith in these players and tried to think that they're going to turn up, and they simply haven't. So why do they deserve a shot in the team when players like Kennedy, who and Loftus-Cheek. I know I keep on saying them, but they're just it's so obvious. You know, players who step up, given very limited chances. Bear in mind against weaker opposition, but when they get those chances, they take them. So I don't understand why they shouldn't be given a chance. What's the and I'll mention this quote again. The definition of madness or insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting results.
Yeah.
We've done the same thing over and over again this season, playing the same players who haven't performed well, and it's been shambolic with the exception of two results this season: West Brom and Arsenal. What's the point in continuing? I don't think there is one, so we need to change it for Aston Villa, which is a critical game for both teams, because I think for Sherwood coming into that game, I think he's under pressure. Mourinho's under even bigger pressure, so we have to get it right. And yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. But Max, now for those of you who don't actually know or didn't check out all the videos from the weekend against Southampton when Louis went off on his most amazing rant, Max was the one who said, if your girlfriend gives you as much chances as Mourinho gave Ivanovic, marry her. That's Max. Check the video out from the weekend if you get a chance. Welcome along, Max. Welcome to welcome to 100% Chelsea, also known as the 12th man, so do check him out. Your view on a horrible month, all of these fixtures, all of these losses, what can we learn from these into October and turn things around?
Obviously, ideally, I'd like to pick out the positives rather than talking about negatives, but I think the two main positives that there were of the month, obviously, beating Arsenal and beating West Brom, as Dan said, neither of them were convincing. I'm going to say we had 3 extra men against Arsenal because they got 2 men sent off, and I must admit, we had the best side of the refereeing decisions. Also, with West Brom, we still conceded 2 goals. I know we've done it in more or less every single league game this season, which isn't great. I don't know. Like, I must admit, I'm happy to see that Klopp has gone to Liverpool to a certain extent, because since that has happened, it means that a lot of people have stopped talking about Mourinho leaving. There's a lot less pressure on him now, because it means that obviously the next best alternative has now left. I don't think we'll ever really go back to Ancelotti. I don't think that'll happen personally.
No.
That'd definitely be a step backwards. So if they were ever going to replace him, the board would probably go for Klopp. So it's nice to see that they now don't have an alternative to a certain extent. But yeah, as Daniel was saying as well, I was going to most games. I was fine with us losing. Obviously, it happens. You could be a top team. You could be a bottom team playing in conference. You're going to go through stages where you lose games. But that Southampton game was definitely the tip of the iceberg, as Dan said. I wasn't expecting it to go so far. Obviously, we're now into the 2nd month of this now. But I'm not going to say that it's going to last. 16th place, it is quite embarrassing to see. But I'm not worrying about it, because you look at it and I know 100% it's never going to end like that. I mean, we'll be in the top 4, hopefully by Christmas, but I don't think that we will finish outside the top 4 personally. I wouldn't say it's a crisis. I wouldn't say Mourinho should be sacked. To a certain extent, I'm never going to be one to say, oh, it's good that Ivanovic and Matic are injured. Don't believe that whatsoever. I think that's disgusting if anyone says it. However, if you're going to take a positive away from it, it's a good wake-up call for Mourinho. That's what I'm going to call it, a wake-up call, because it means that he can now actually look at his bench rather than having his chosen few on the pitch and being quite biased as such to his preferred players. It means that he can now look on the bench, see other options. As Daniel was saying, if you're failing at the same thing every time, you've got to try something, and this is definitely a wake-up call for him to look at his bench, try something. Ideally, I would like to see Loftus-Cheek play. I think he deserves it. The one game he did play, played quality. Same with Rahman. He was quality the game he did play, and I don't quite understand why they're not giving chances. I know that for high-pressure games like we've had, pressure has been building throughout the season. Obviously, Arsenal, I understood that we put out Ivanovic and Hazard and Matic, even though they shouldn't have. But I understand that they did, because in order to win big games, you need to risk putting out your big players. After that, obviously, there has been added pressure every time for him to get a result, which is fair enough. He hasn't been getting results, therefore there's a lot of pressure. He has put out his big names because he knows his big names can do it. If you're going to risk putting out a big name that you know can do it, you're going to do that rather than putting out someone young that hasn't really proven that they can perform in big games yet. However, I think he does need to try it now.
True. I mean, just to let you guys know, if you're not aware, Max makes a good point. Ivanovic got injured yesterday playing for Serbia. He pulled his hamstring, so we're probably looking at around 3-4 weeks out. If it's just a little a little strain, then maybe 2 weeks. But if it's serious, then we're looking at least a month. Ivanovic is out. Matic picked up a little knock, so he might miss Villa. Probably nothing more than that, but he is a bit injured. Now, as you said, that does give us the option now. Loftus-Cheek, possibly get more game time, and Baba Rahman to actually start playing, because Aspi can now shift over to the right. Baba can start playing on the left, and it gives us something different. And it's what we've wanted to see. So hopefully against Villa we do get to see that. You also make a good point about Klopp. Now Klopp has joined Liverpool and he's become their man. As I don't know if you guys saw the press conference, but Klopp is this flamboyant character who's honest. He's like the rock star of the managers. He just comes out and says exactly what it is, exactly how he feels. He's always smiling. He always wants to have fun in the press. He's basically up there in terms of interviewing like Mourinho. So it does take pressure off Jose. As you're right, Mourinho's been the focus, and now Klopp is the focus, and that can take a lot of pressure off Jose. He's taken a lot of pressure recently. Just to let all of you know, a few players have spoken in the last couple of days about Mourinho. We've had Diego Costa come out in Jose's defence. We've had Cahill come out in Jose's defence. Ramirez has come out in Jose's defence. Willian, I think, has come up in Jose's defence. So
Fabregas.
The players, Fabregas as well, the players are all clearly behind Jose. So that's good.
Hazard's father as well came out in an interview saying stuff, didn't he?
He did. Yep,
Yeah.
He did. So clearly, all the players are behind the manager, and so is the club. So that's great to hear. One point I want to make, and this is what the problem was against Southampton as well, the fans. Obviously, you can't blame fans for not reacting or just, they're in complete disarray if their team are doing really badly. That's understandable. But do you think if from now on, so from Villa, if we just show up and just sing, shout, back the team, and create that atmosphere ourselves, that will help the team, because they do need it right now. Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot's been said from me and Louis and all of us about what happened on Saturday, and I think one of the biggest things that hurt me was the mass fire drill with 15 minutes to go. That was one of the things that very disappointed me. I actually quite liked it because you had fans in there who were actually singing, like even 3-1 down, and I was one of them. And it's actually quite nice because you had fans in there just absolutely singing because of love of the club, and they didn't want to hear the Southampton fans having a good time. So they just thought there's nothing else to do here, so let's sing for Chelsea, let's sing for our club. The atmosphere was absolutely crap on Saturday. There's no getting away from it. We've talked absolutely, I don't know how many times we've discussed atmosphere, and we go around in circles with it because I've really done a solution. One thing I do want to shout out, which is probably too late now, but I did see over the weekend it was about away tickets. You may have seen it. It was about 20 plenty for away tickets. That was really good initiative. Fans coming together. You had United and Arsenal fans, Chelsea, Southampton fans coming together about away ticket prices. So definitely, I'll say to you guys, go out and search that, because it's a campaign I think all of us want to get behind for cheaper ticket prices. Funny enough, even on Sunday, Sky, I think even Martin Tyler referenced it, which was actually quite surprising considering the amount of money that Sky and BT put into it for one of them to actually reference it, which I think was quite cool. But I don't know, I mean, it was more disappointing to me. Absolutely, if we were to create a massive atmosphere, that's what you have to do in these periods. We have to stick together in these periods. I know it sounds very dramatic, but that's the way it is. As a fan base, there's no point. I don't want to become a fan base where we're having meltdowns each week. We're having fans arguing with each other. We're having fans on one side of the fence and another side of the fence. I don't want that, because we're not even at that stage. We're going through a very bad period, and guess what? Football goes in circles. Sometimes you're on top, sometimes you're on the bottom. Sometimes you're winning each week. You're beating all of your rivals. You're playing brilliant football. I'm not excusing all of the problems this year. I'm not saying that Mourinho there's no room for him to be criticised. He doesn't deserve to be criticised, and the players. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just think, as a fan base, we need to come together at these points and support the team, because we're Chelsea fans, for God's sake. We're supposed to come together, and because this whole mentality of the club is that everyone's against us. So we're supposed to stick together, because we come under a lot of criticism. So really what I want to see at Villa, I'm not sure I will see it, but hopefully we do get some sort of good atmosphere there, and hopefully a good performance to come with it, because too many weekends have been ruined. Too many weekends I've seen fans coming out of Chelsea and us kind of sitting here after a game or after the outside Stamford Bridge being so depressed after a game. That's just not Chelsea, and that's not where we are. And I just haven't seen any fight in this team, because last year we saw a team go out there and do battle each week, and have players there who are absolutely just so intense and wanting to win and putting everything into the game. Luckily, Diego's back for Aston Villa, which I think is a massive, massive positive. I don't know, because I've said to you, and I'll stick by what I said on Saturday, I still think Costa's I still want him in my team, because quite simply, I feel that he goes out there to want to win, no matter what he does. And I'll reiterate this. Maybe my words came out wrong. I don't regret what I said on Saturday, but I think that he should have been banned for what he did against Arsenal, and he rightly did get banned. He shouldn't have done it. But I think that him having, I love it when I see Costa in the team, not just because he's a brilliant player, but because of what he brings to us as a team. I think we function better as a team, and I actually thought for the Porto game he was actually our best player. I thought he really looked back to himself. And unfortunately, like so many times this season, there's been so many players around you that, like around Costa and around Willian on Saturday, just aren't performing. So it doesn't matter if one player performs well. If the others aren't, then there's nothing you can do. So hopefully we can see a bit more of that from Costa. Some goals, a bit more brilliant hold-up play that he's just absolutely immense at. And as well goes out to battle for Chelsea. So I'm happy that he's back for the next game, and hopefully he'll be back to Costa of our season.
Definitely. Max, your view, as Chelsea are in a really dark moment, let's say, or bad period, us just getting behind this team. I mean, we've been through really bad times. Pre-Abramovich, you have to be honest. We weren't the best. Yeah. We were completely, we weren't rubbish. People like to say we were completely shite. That's not the truth. We were getting around 4th, 5th, 6th. Practically every season we were decent, got a few seconds, but we weren't the best, and that was the expectation. Now we know what it's like to be winning every single weekend. Going through this is harder. Do you think us just getting behind the team, just singing our hearts out and creating that atmosphere for them, benefits them?
Yeah, I personally think that's a massive problem, if not one of the biggest problems. I mean, as a well, I don't think so. Anyway, as a loyal Chelsea fan, it is very, very disappointing to see. I mean, in my interview at the weekend, I do regret talking about ticket prices. I do regret moaning to a certain extent about how I wasn't happy with the money I was paying to go and see them lose. And I know it's bad to say, I would still pay the money week in, week out to see us lose. Doesn't matter, winning, losing, no matter what. So I do slightly regret saying that. If anyone was offended by that, I'm sorry. But with what Daniel was saying as well, I think what they need to focus on as well, younger fans like myself, I mean, I'm only 16, Daniel, Louis, for example, who want to go there, who want to sing, who want to actually make some noise and stay until the 90th minute, they need to try and hold on to that. And I try and get Matthew Harding lower if I can. Having the East Stand at £15 a ticket for younger fans is good. But for me to get a ticket in Matthew Harding lower, for an adult is 70 quid, for a child is 59. That's still 60 quid to get in the Matthew Harding lower. I feel like if they want a good atmosphere, which is what we need, they need to make it cheaper for young people to go in Matthew Harding lower, actually be able to make some noise around people, learn from the actual proper fans who do make some noise, and then eventually spread out the stadium and again sing songs. I think that's good. Like, I was extremely disappointed to see fans leave. I mean, I would have been disappointed to see fans leave in the 90th minute. I think we should have stayed there until Mourinho went into the dugout, just to make sure that the board and the club knew that the whole fan base itself was behind Mourinho. Because I'm going to say now, I reckon a good 70% of the people in the stadium, maybe 80, are behind Mourinho. I don't know if you had many interviews that day, or any of people saying that they wanted Mourinho out. Did you have any?
No.
No,
Not on
that's
not
what
on
I
the
mean.
channel itself. No, not on
And
100% Chelsea.
that's exactly it. And I think it's disappointing to see fans leave early without staying to actually show the club that they do want a manager to stay. I think that would have been a nice touch. It is a massive problem, a massive, massive problem. I do think that's something they need to focus on. And I don't think getting results will make it better. There's just too many people there. I mean, I sat in the East Stand for the Arsenal game, and I don't mean it in a rude way. It's just tourists.
It
And
is. It is. The West End and the East End are just
I
silent.
mean, yeah. You were sitting in front of me that game, actually, wasn't you?
Yeah, it was.
I think you was a row in front.
Yeah, it was dead.
Oh, it's awful.
It
Like,
was dead.
it,
Yeah, that's the
it
problem.
breaks my heart to a certain extent, though, without sounding too soppy about it. It's
Yeah,
like
it does. Yeah.
a club like Chelsea, a London-based club, one of the only London-based clubs to still have their stadium that they had however many years ago.
Exactly.
We should be making noise. Fair enough, Arsenal, West Ham next season, you can accept that they won't be making, especially West Ham, because they're fucking like 100 metres away from the pitch as it is with the racetrack around the pitch. Like,
It'll be the end of the game by the time they've sung song for it to get to the pitch.
that's exactly
Players
it.
would have gone
Like,
in.
we're one of the last big clubs in London. Oh, Spurs as well. They're getting their new stadium. We're one of the last big clubs in London to still have our old stadium. That stadium is well known for making noise, but since the last 5 years, it's dead, and that's the most disappointing thing about it. Not bad results, not players not performing. It's the fans. That's all anyone wants to see. If I went there, like my best experience as a Chelsea fan was going to my first game this season in the Matthew Harding Lower, where we lost 2-1 against Palace. I paid 60 quid for that ticket. We lost 2-1, but that was better than the Arsenal game, better than any game that I've gone to see us win, just because of the atmosphere. And I think people need to experience that. And once they do, they'll start singing. And that's what we need. Not winning. It's literally come back. Yeah, we lost, but I still had a great day with all the noise. It's what we need. I was sitting next to someone in the Southampton game, rocked up at half time. I think he came from work. He was wearing the Office, the shoe shop. He had one of them lanyards. I was sitting next to no one in the first half. He came in, half time, started sitting there. We conceded 2 goals in the second half. Every time he was there phoning his mate, not a single word the whole song. Not a single song the whole game. It's just disappointing to see. It annoys me.
Also, can I just say quickly, I mean, you have a younger generation now who are probably going to, like, for instance, when my dad first took me when I was like 5.
Yeah.
You're used to singing, like it's something that's very ingrained very early on. And
When
if
did
you have
your dad take you? What stand was you in? Just out of curiosity.
funny enough, my first ever game was the West Stand Lower.
Okay.
I think it was it was the Champions League when we still had to qualify for the Champions League.
Yeah.
And it's known. You're known to sing at football. It's been ingrained in me, and it's been ingrained in all of us that that's something that happens at football. The problem is now you're having a situation where people of like 5 are now going to the ground and seeing people sing because they're not used to people singing. You get like weird looks at you when you start singing.
You do. And family area has killed that though.
Yeah.
My worry is ridiculous. There's fucking Xboxes in there.
Yeah. My worry is like you're gonna have a younger generation coming through who look down at singing like it's some sort of weird thing, and that is not the way we do it. I will say this over and over again to the people who left on Saturday and people who don't sing and don't contribute to the atmosphere. You're a supporter, not a spectator. That's not what you're there to do. Sure. If that's the way you want to act, just go and. It's like
go to the cinema.
Go to the cinema. Yeah. But then if you go to cinema, you're not gonna leave like 15 minutes before the end of the film, are you?
That's exactly it.
Like you're not gonna do that. It's like with a theatre. With a theatre, like it's coming up to the finale, and you just walk out because you'll be looked down. So if that's the way you want to go with atmosphere, just go and do that, because if that's the way you look at football, that's not the way I look at football. I look at football as something more than that. So that's the way I look at it, and I just want a good atmosphere. And
do you blame the current generation as a fact? Because what you were saying there was that young fans go to games and look down on singing because it's not happening so much. So what I was saying is there should be a scheme or something to sort of try and get every young fan in the Matthew Yard Lower for at least one game a season.
Definitely.
Just to let them experience that. if
Gary
we were to
Neville's
sing up, so would they. I think they're
yeah,
so
I think
young
Gary,
and like it's when they're impressionable, isn't it? That's what we need.
yeah, I think Gary Neville definitely put it best when he was like, I mean, the you need some of these younger fans as well if if it's possible for them to go to some away games, because then
Yeah,
it's literally a different experience when you go to an away game. It is literally like watching
Completely different.
another club. It is I'm not even kidding. It is literally the complete opposite. Most people, you lose your voice by half time. That's
Yeah.
kind of, at least I do, because that's the way it is at away days.
yeah.
It's crazy, and I love away days. I just think they're so much better than home games. They just are, and that's such a shame because I love going down to the bridge. It's just you talk about cathedral football or anything, that's what it's like. But when you go in there and just people aren't as passionate as you, or are not showing that passion. I'm not going to say not as passionate as you, maybe not showing that passion or don't understand how to show that passion. That kind of annoys me, and we need to change it to let people know that we need to get behind the club, especially at this period, and sing songs. Chelsea have made big steps to try and improve atmosphere, with the exception of ticket pricing, I know, which is the biggest one, I think. They've tried to improve things like putting the lights down before games, the music they play before a game, stuff like that. They've tried to improve it. I think as fans we need to do more, but also I think that that's ticket pricing, and I think it's something that the Premier League really needs to work on with home and away days, because I think that is the biggest contributor, I think, because if you can get Matthew Arden-Lower and you get a load of people, younger people, behind that goal, making noise every week, the most passionate fans, not even young people, it's not like it should be just restricted to young people, passionate Chelsea fans who want to go behind there, create a mass, also in the shed end, which can get good because of course you have the away and home. I still think the away fans should be moved personally, because I think we should have the shed and the Matthew Arden lower as as just home stands. I personally think, but I think definitely ticket pricing is the biggest thing. But it's such a big issue because I don't think the club will just change, because I think it's something that has to be campaigned for. I've said this countless times. You can go back and watch streams when we talked about this. It's something that has to be campaigned for throughout the Premier League and throughout fan bases.
It's the same with standing areas, isn't it? I don't know if you would say that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eunice. I saw a documentary on a certain channel. I don't know if I'm allowed to. Am I allowed to say other channel names on here?
Yeah, you can do.
Okay. Copper 90 recently done a video on standard areas in the Bundesliga. I think it was. I want to say Hoffenheim they looked at. I can't quite remember.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. I think it was Hoffenheim. Yeah.
And they were on about how the board really wanted it to happen because obviously having fans that actually bring in the money to do that and obviously create an atmosphere that makes other people want to go and can be iconic to the club themselves, rather than tolerating them as such, which is what they do at Chelsea. With the Matthew Arden-Lower, instead of embracing the fact that you have an area that sings loud, they more sort of tolerate it and sort of tolerate the fact that they're going to stand up the whole game. You need to actually sort of embrace that and allow that to happen. And standard areas, sorry. I know that the West Ham director was trying to get behind it, but the club were against it. And I think we just need people to actually speak out. And I think Mourinho could be one. I know he's all for having a good atmosphere, so if he speaks out, I think we just need people to get behind it, and I think that could be something great. Also, I think they had a 3,000 seated area. Obviously, when they do Champions League games, you can change it to seats. However, then when they do league games, you put the seats up with a bolt, fits 5,000.
True.
So,
yeah. I mean, yeah, as long as it's all controlled and there's discipline there, because we've seen disasters in the past, and that's obviously a holdback. A lot of people are worried of any tragedy that could happen.
That wasn't due to standard areas, though. That was more
of course it wasn't.
Policing, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Poor management.
I mean, yeah, those are issues that need to be dealt with. Another point you make is obviously about the atmosphere. Compare it, like for example, on how it used to be. Before we became such a massive club. So you mentioned tourists. Look at Chelsea Barcelona 2005. 2004? 2004, 2005. That season, there weren't, we were still that community sort of club that had just been bought by a Russian and have, Jose Mourinho who just came to Chelsea. So we still had that fan base that wasn't filled with tourists. You look at that game, and Stamford Bridge was absolutely popping off. And that's why we scored 3 goals in 20 minutes, because literally in 20 minutes, Stamford Bridge was exploding.
People don't realise how much of an impact it has, though.
It does, exactly. And
massive impact.
yeah, that's the point I want to get across. If we're going to try and make sure that we win, we start winning again. The team have the quality, but I feel as fans we need to be able to just support them and give that nudge to start that effect, to start that snowball effect, to get the ball rolling. Let's push the team. Let's push the team.
Units. I think as well. Like, we're looking for that far back, but it's not. I even think quite recently we've had good atmospheres. Of course, they've been in big games, but that Liverpool League Cup semi-final second leg, I was right at the back of the East stand-upper, and I have never seen the East stand-upper everyone standing up singing. And that kind of shows you the impact of it. We've had good atmospheres recently. The problem is it's sustaining it, and there are so many fans that go to Chelsea expecting a win. Maybe this will change things, because I don't think any of us at the moment are going up to Stamford Bridge and expecting a win. Considering the way we are at the moment, I think that it's a real shame, and it's mind-boggling sometimes when fans can get up and you see fans just in the stand up, and maybe the West Stand, on certain games will stand up, but I think it is in bigger games where you're not sure if Chelsea are going to win or not.
Exactly.
It's against a bigger team, especially against Liverpool. I mean, that's just that. There's always going to be an amazing atmosphere for that, because we all hate Liverpool and they hate us. So it's just like it's a massive rivalry, and that's why you have it. Weirdly, I think the Arsenal game was a bit like that. I mean, it depends on where you're sitting. I know you were saying earlier that it wasn't that good where you were sitting. I mean, it's a bit like that. So I don't know. It's such a big discussion, and I don't really have an answer for it. And I'm not going to say this is the solution to it, because that's just for an answer. I think it's a much bigger topic that needs to be discussed by many fans. Not just. And I think it's something that all fans think about and all fans wish can be changed, but how you go about that, I think there are smarter people than me who can figure that one out.
True. I mean, you mentioned Liverpool, and I want to mention this before we go off. Klopp, in his press conference today, said there's one thing that needs to change. We need to change doubters into believers. And I just want to take that quote and just relate it with us, because we've got that sense at the moment when we go to a game, we just start worrying straight away. Straight away we go, you know what, we might actually bottle this today. Let's start believing again, and obviously no matter what happens with the team, we got to back and win, lose or draw, through thick or thin. You're a fan of the club, not just when they're winning, and if you're only supporting them when you're winning, I'm going to quote Louis, you're plastic. So
yeah, that's exactly it.
Head off to City.
If you can't support us when we lose 3-1, don't support us when we lose 2-1.
Yeah, or when we win like 5-0. That doesn't. Yeah, exactly. But there we are. That's been a good discussion. Just to let you guys know, Max, you're going to feature on here a lot more.
Yeah, hopefully, if you want me on it.
Definitely. do check his Twitter and his YouTube as well. His Twitter is at the 12th man. His YouTube is the 12th man as well. Daniel at Son of Chelsea, and his channel Son of Chelsea. Louis, who will be back on sometime soon, promise you. His name is at Louis the Boogaloo on Twitter, so do check him out as well.
Also, can I just say about Let's Talk Chelsea? I'm going to give a shameless self-promotion here. Let's Talk Chelsea for the channel that was uploaded last night. So that's a new series.
Yes.
Hopefully we can get some support for that.
Second episode of Let's Talk Chelsea was put up yesterday, so do check that out. It's obviously a weekly thing where we talk about the different topics that have arisen during the week surrounding Chelsea. Just a little size bite sort of video for you guys as a roundup. So please do check that out. It's got Daniel presenting on that, so do have a look. And thank you for all the likes. Please leave your comments down in the comment section below. And you guys, thank you for coming on today. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
No problem. And there we are. So there we are. If there's one thing to learn from today, is let's start again. Let's refresh. Let's back our team. all the way. Okay, and as Klopp said, let's change this doubt into believing. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you are new. Check out all the social media links in the description below. And all of us will see you really soon. You guys can sign off and say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Up the Chelsea.